Hi, my name's David with Premier Gutter Cover. We're doing an installation video. We're just going to walk you through real quickly how to install our product. First and foremost, I want to talk about your PP&E. It says sharp edges on the box for a reason. So I suggest you're always wearing gloves, as well as when you're installing some safety glasses and ear protection is highly recommended. So I just got the box. I'm an installer. Let's open it up and see what we got. We open it up inside. Obviously there's a product. You're going to see a flyer on some of the other accessories that we're offering, and then you're going to notice this folded up. So let's open it up. It's two-sided. One side's our warranty, but the other side is the instructions. So we're just going to I'm going to follow along with them and do my best to try to show you so that you too, if you for some reason wasn't in there, you can follow along. So it's pretty brief. First and foremost, I just want to reiterate the preparation to the gutter is very important. So most of this is probably installed on new gutters. We can do 5-inch, 6-inch, fascia, K-style, an assortment of varieties. But a lot of times people want to maybe try to put this on existing, and so the one thing I want you to realize is our product doesn't fix a bad gutter job. So you need to ensure that that's done right. And here's our suggestions. First and foremost, you want to clean it. You want to clean it thoroughly, make sure everything's flowing properly, sealed properly. Secondarily, again, I went to flow. It has to flow. Everything needs to drain to the downspout. So I highly recommend using a level, if it's a dry time of the year, or even running water through a system to ensure you have no standing water. Again, you have to treat your gutter system like outside plumbing. So you want nothing standing still. You want everything flowing as it should. Okay, so now that we've done that, before we're getting into the other stuff, I want to also reiterate, we highly suggest the larger the downspout, the better. Again, back to flow. So you can see the subtlety in just 2 drop cups here. These are the drop cups that are installed. One fits inside the other, but there's exponentially more water that can run through this, even though it seems just slightly bigger. So that's why we say, hey, 3x4 downspouts, if you have the choice, are a better option. Not all regions aesthetically think that's pleasing, but make sure you have large drop cups. We've seen V-funnels attachments, which are great. Anything that, again, allows the water to flow, we're highly on board with. So now that we've done that, we want to talk about what we're going to secure it with. So in our region, the electrolysis is really low, so we use a coated screw, right? So these are painted, coated, not necessarily powder coated like the rest, but they offer enough insulation, even though a lot of times we're putting aluminum to steel. We just don't have the electrolysis issues. But we do suggest stainless steel. So stainless steel would avoid any problems whatsoever. But again, it's a little more challenging in the install. You can't use a magnetic head on your screw gun. But ultimately, you want to put the right thing in for your region. So I want to talk about what tools you're going to need too, real briefly. Obviously, you're going to need some tin snips, right, left, straights, just for any of the corners as well. Screw gun, battery operated, we prefer. Magnetic head for these are great. Again, we already talked about the level. That's huge. Sometimes you might need something light, a little paint scraper or something to help slide it up and underneath. We'll show that out in the field as we're installing it. I want to talk about the last of that first preparation. You need to have all your parts in play. So we have a couple things that we have manufactured, because these are basically 3 regions that over the course of 20 years we've watched people do them differently. And what we try to do is have a consistency, and they're for a purpose. They all work for a reason. So first is going to be the end caps. And the end cap, essentially, if you're looking at this sample, is at the end, as you can see. So what the end cap does is it has marked cut points for 5K, fascia, 6K. There's a right and a left. But what it does is if water actually is migrating down, like your drains over here, it allows this to keep the water inside and down. It also keeps any debris or critters from trying to get in and habitate the system itself on the sides. So it's a clean look, it's a consistent look, and it's a required look. So secondly is going to be outside corners. Now the outside corner is you would think it would be super simple, it would just be a 45. But unfortunately with roof pitches, that changes. And so what we found is sometimes as you're splicing it, you can have a gap there or you can have too much. And to make it clean and they all look the same and function properly, created this, super simple, outside corner. So when this is installed, it's like this, again, super clean. And what that allows to do is, again, not just a clean, consistent look, but it keeps you from having to have anything that you miscut thrown away because there's a smaller gap, and etc. So the third and potentially most important, depending on what your roof style is a high flow. Again, I'm saying high flow inside miter. So not every inside corner needs this, but high flow does. So if you see an exponential amount of debris and water traveling down this area, sometimes you can look at a roof line and realize architects has basically taken a third of the roof and put it down one area. We've made these. They're inside miter inserts. Again, 3 colors. They're going to come in the musket, the black, and the white. They follow our patents, so they're louvered so that things will actually continue to shed the debris by allowing water to get in. Now, one installed correctly would be on the sample. You can kind of get a general gist. So we're going to show that in the field, how you cut these in. These aren't needed, again, for everyone, but on the high flow, the larger openings, we highly recommend those for sure. So, get ready. We're going to head outside. We're going to do 2 different styles. We're going to do a comp, which most everybody's going to see readily, but we're also going to do a metal roof. Our product works great on metal roofs, comes from a region with a lot of metal roofs, and there's just very few products that do. So, thank you, and let's head outside. Okay, so now we're outside. What we're going to do on this particular house has multiple different pitches. So this is a really low pitch, easy for us to show this. This actually home had this product on for 6 years already. So a little easier just to kind of take it apart and put it back on. The biggest thing that we want to start off with is that you're never going to penetrate the roof or the house itself with primary gutter cover. Our product's made to float, so what we do is, if you look down and pull the piece out, what we do is we tuck the first piece up underneath between the starter tar paper and shingle. It has an overlap. As you can see with the overlap, it comes along here and overlaps that offset. So you're at facing it, if you're going, you'd be going left to right. So these again, these are the ones that we've already pulled out. We're going to put back in, but you can see how the overlap will actually be as such. So you can see how much the product actually tucks up underneath. This actually has a ice shield underneath there, so the sticky back of it, over time, 5-6 years, the heat, it adhered very well. Doesn't come out quite as easy. But one thing you'll notice it's really important when we install our product is it always has to have a pitch. You never want this product to sit flat or this outside edge to be higher, but by doing that, you'd actually create a way for the debris to head back towards the home, and that's not improper install. So this outside lip always has to be lower than the front. You want that 1 inch tucked up underneath. This is on a 6K job, so you know, with the flashing on there, obviously we had what we needed to tuck up underneath. So we're going to go ahead and finish this off and work it down to an outside corner is what I wanted to show you when we were all said and done with this. So I'm going to put the existing ones back in. As you can see, if you look down a couple, 3 of these, you'll get a kind of an idea of how clean the look is if you overlap them correctly and in the right direction every time. They pop right back into place. Again, there's 3 pre-punched spots to where you screw it in. A lot of regions, in this region in particular, the snow level, it's so-so. So I think you'd kind of want to, you might contemplate adding an extra one. Wind and snow, we always have it, suggest you can add 2 more, which would make 5. Okay, so like we talked about, coming to the outside corner. Not always are these that are 45, and this is going to show our outside corner splice plate going in. Again, this was already existing, we pulled out, but by tucking it up and under, a lot of times what will happen is a couple different things. Sometimes the starter's out here, so you have to notch it more for it. Being 6K, not as much is going to go underneath, so they're not as much of a challenge. This one overlapped fairly well, not bad, you know, we had our but sometimes these are more, so what this allows us to do by putting this piece on once you screwed it, you you can see how clean that's going to look, right? We put the screws back in. That's just going to be a clean, aesthetically clean look. Plus, it ties everything together for strength. Again, this being a smaller, lower pitched, 412 type style, we're wanting shedding. We're wanting the product to move. Our whole premise is to get all the debris off and down. So we really need to ensure that has some kind of drop. Doesn't have to be a lot, but it has some. We'll show a couple different side views when we put in the end caps of more drop and less drop, but you have to have some drop. As you can see, clean install. Okay, so we're going to install the end cap. This is what we're talking about. What I want to show is the differential and fall. This is a steeper pitch, so you notice you got a much steeper fall. Even though this is far away from the downspout, it still has a little bit of a drop. You can see in some instances 412, 312, there's not much, but there's still a fall. That's the difference. Just as long as you're creating that so that you're shedding, we're golden. Let's get up here and install one of these end caps real quick. Okay, so now we've come down to an end cap. I actually V-notched it at the VGroove so water has a place to migrate down in. So this is 6K, so this should easily slide right inside. As you can see, very clean there. So now we're going to just install a couple of screws on it. Again, the real reason for this is not just the aesthetics, but it's also to maintain it working properly. You're not allowing anything else to get inside there. We've had issues where people haven't done things and they've had squirrels or birds or what have you. So by doing this, you ensure it's secure all the way around. A couple 2 quick screws and away we go. Okay, 2 quick screws and away she goes. Now we're going to show you some inside miter on a couple other jobs. Real quick, I want you to pan down and show how the seam looks along there. Nice and clean. Premier gutter covers a clean, aesthetic look. Again, this has been on this house for almost 6 years. A lot of snow, a very clean look. One of the things I did want to mention too while installing this, a lot of times you're just going to slide it up underneath and it's flat, but sometimes you have pretty extreme pitch differentials. So this VGroove is actually made so that you can manipulate it on the roof. Your goal is never to pucker the roof away, so you want it to lay flat. So by taking this and literally me just setting it on the roof before I put it in, I was able to manipulate this. As you can see, this would take a much more severe pitch. Not needed on this home necessarily, but that's one of the values to it. You don't have to bring out a brake or do anything different. You just want it to lay flat. Again, never allowing this, though, to be flat over the gutter. You always want to slope. This is to be flat to the roof line so that the shingles lay down. This is still to give it a pitch. This would be a much more severe 10, 12, 11, 12 pitch. And we can show some pictures of that as well in our gallery. But overall, this just gives you a great option to do something without having to bring in extra equipment and keep a smooth transition all the way around. Hey, one last thing. On the downspouts, again, we use the larger 3x4, got the great flow, but a lot of the products that are out there don't allow you to interface with it at all. Micromeshes tend to clog up so quickly with pollen. Ours allows the pollen to get through and everything to shed properly. I put a small piece above these just in case. Again, 40 years ago we had mountains burp around here and we had ash buildup. You can still interface with a lot of silt problems or anything, no problem with our product, and it gives you quick access to the top of your downspout. It's just something that is just a good practice. It allows it easy interface. 99% of the times you'll never have to, but I just think since you're doing it, you might as well do it right. Thanks.